Number 2, you're going to find the value of y expressed in a simplest radical form. Please notice that all these questions are referring to a right triangle, and because it is a right triangle, we can find any third side if we know the other two using Pythagorean theorem. A is equal to 10, B can be equal to 5, and C is our known, which is going to be y squared. Why? Now we can just plug it into our formula of a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. This is the formula that we're going to be using. All right, let's plug in the values here. This is now going to be 10 squared plus 5 squared is equal to y squared. Okay, we need a calculator for this part. 10 squared, it is 100. Plus 5 squared, which is 25. That's going to be equal to y squared. So this is 125 is equal to y squared. If we square root both sides, we get y is equal to the square root of 125. This does break down, right? This breaks down into 25 times 5. And that's going to be equal to y. We put in its own radical. So radical 25 times radical 5 is equal to y. Then we know that the radical 25 becomes 5. And the radical 5 just stays there. And that's equal to y. So that third side is 5 radical 5. Let's do the next one. This is a, which is 6. B can be equal to y. C can be equal to square root 85. All right, so here we have the formula like from before. Now we can plug in the values. B squared plus y squared is equal to square root 85 squared. We have 6 squared here, which is 36, plus y squared. The square in the square root here cancels, just leaving you with just an 85. Subtract 36 to both sides, you get y squared is equal to 85 minus 36, that is 49. Okay, square root both sides, square root for both sides, y is equal to 7. C, here's the formula like before. A is equal to 9, B equals to square root 19, and C is equal to y. 9 squared plus square root 19, we square that, is equal to y squared. 9 squared is 81. Square root of 19 squared, it is just 19, is equal to y squared. 81 plus 19 is 100, equals to y squared. Square root both sides. The square root of 100 is just 10, that equals to y. Here's the last one. A squared plus b squared equals to c squared here. A is equal to 8, b equals to 8, c is equal to y. 8 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. This is 64 plus 64 is equal to c squared. 64 plus 64, that is 128, is equal to c squared. Square root both sides. We get c is equal to the square root of 126. The square root of 126 does have a perfect square in it. 126 can be divided by 49. Nope. 128 can be divided by, let's see, 49, 36. No. 25. No. 8 times 8, 64. Yeah, 64. So this is square root of 64 times 2. And they can go into their own separate radicals. So radical 64 times radical 2 equals to c. Radical 64, that becomes, I think, 8. Bring down that radical 2, that is equal to c. So there you go. That is how you solve for a missing side of a right triangle using Pythagorean theorem and making sure that you simplify the radical to simplest form.